You have 24 hours. One free Saturday. One sick day you're definitely not faking. One I'll start my responsibilities tomorrow kind of Sunday. What if I told you that in that single day, you could experience a complete masterpiece? A story so perfectly crafted that it doesn't need 900 episodes to make you question your entire existence. No filler, no beach episodes that go nowhere, just pure, concentrated storytelling that hits harder than your favourite 300 episode shonen ever could. Today I'm breaking down 10 anime series, all 24 episodes or less, that you can legitimately binge in one sitting. And these aren't just short so they're convenient. These are genuine masterpieces that respect your time and will absolutely wreck you emotionally. If you're tired of commitment issues with anime that never end, you're gonna want to stick around for this one. And hey, if that sounds good to you, subscribe so you never miss a ranking like this. Trust me, we're just getting started. Let's get into it. Kicking off our countdown at number 10, we've got Angel Beats from PA Works. This 13-episode series dropped back in 2010 and immediately became one of the most talked about shows of that year. Imagine waking up in a high school that's actually purgatory for dead teenagers with trauma. You have no memories, there's a girl with a sniper rifle recruiting you for a war against God, and your enemy is a silver-haired student council president with supernatural powers who might actually be an angel. Oh, and there's a rock band. Because why not? Angel Beats is what happens when you throw action, comedy, and soul-crushing tragedy into a blender and hit chaos mode. One minute you're laughing at absurd slapstick, the next you're ugly crying over a character's backstory. It's a beautiful, ambitious mess. Like if someone tried to fit a 50-episode plot into 13 episodes and somehow made it work. Mostly. Here's the thing. The pacing is choppy. The world building is basically held together with duct tape and vibes. Half the cast barely gets developed, but when this show hits its emotional beats, it hits like a truck. An emotional isekai truck, if you will. It's flawed, but it's unforgettable. And that's why it earns a spot on this list. Because sometimes a beautiful disaster is better than a safe, forgettable story. Coming in at number 9, we've got Baccano from Brainspace. This 2007 series gives you 13 episodes plus 3 OVAs of pure, chaotic brilliance. Pop quiz. What do you get when you mix Prohibition-era gangsters, immortal alchemists, a train hijacking, and two of the most lovable idiot thieves in anime history? If you said a coherent story, you'd be wrong. If you said one of the most brilliantly constructed puzzle box narratives ever made, you'd be absolutely right. Baccano tells its story completely out of order, jumping between 1930, 1931, and 1932 like it's DJ scratching your timeline. There's no main character, just a massive ensemble cast of mafiosos, assassins, and immortals whose stories weave together in the most satisfying way possible. This is the kind of show where you'll need to actually pay attention. I know, wild concept for a binge watch. But here's the brilliance. The show tells you early on who survives. The mystery isn't will they make it, it's how did this absolute chaos lead to that outcome. Also, watch the English dub. I don't say that often, but the 1930s American accents are chef's kiss. It's like Pulp Fiction meets The Godfather meets a shot of adrenaline, all wrapped in a jazz soundtrack that absolutely slaps. At number 8, we have the 2019 adaptation of Dororo, a collaboration between MAPPA and Tezuka Productions that spans 24 episodes of dark, gorgeous storytelling. Your dad literally trades your body parts to demons for political power. You're born without limbs, skin, eyes, ears. Basically a biological nightmare. But a kind doctor gives you prosthetic limbs with swords built in, and now you're on a quest to kill those demons and take back what's yours. One body part at a time. This is Dororo, and it's as dark as it sounds. Set in Sengoku-era Japan, this is a brutal, gorgeous tale about what it means to be human when you're physically being built piece by piece. The main character, Hyakimaru, literally cannot see, hear, or feel pain for most of the story. But as he reclaims his senses, he also discovers that the world is full of suffering, and it starts to break him. The soul of the show is his relationship with Dororo, a scrappy orphan thief who becomes his guide and his conscience. Their bond is one of the most genuinely touching in anime. But here's where it gets philosophically heavy. Every time Hyakimaru reclaims a body part, his father's land suffers. Crops fail. People starve. So the show asks you, is one person's suffering justified if it saves thousands? It's a complete story with fantastic animation, visceral action, and a bittersweet ending that'll leave you staring at the ceiling for a while. Number 7 on our list is Death Parade, a 12-episode psychological masterpiece from Madhouse that aired in 2015. Welcome to the afterlife. You're dead. Surprise! But before you get reincarnated or sent to the void, you have to play a game. Darts? Bowling? Air hockey? Sounds fun, right? Wrong. These games are designed to drag out the absolute worst in you. And based on how you act under pressure, an emotionless bartender named Decim will judge your soul for eternity. No pressure. Death Parade uses its setup to ask one brutal question. Can you really judge a person's entire life based on their worst moment? Every episode introduces a new pair of dead people, and you get these perfectly crafted mini tragedies that hit like a gut punch. But the real story is Decim's journey, a being without human emotions slowly learning empathy by judging humanity. Oh, and the opening theme? It's a bright, cheerful, jazzy dance number that is the complete opposite of the show's vibe. And somehow that makes it perfect. Philosophically rich, beautifully animated, and it'll make you think twice about how you treat people when you're stressed. Sliding into number 6 is Erased, a 12-episode thriller from A1 Pictures that came out in 2016 and had everyone talking about time travel all over again. You're a struggling 29-year-old with a time travel power that only goes back a few minutes to prevent disasters. Useful, but not exactly life-changing. Then your mom gets murdered, you get framed for it, and your power launches you 18 years into the past, back into your 10-year-old body, right before a serial killer murdered 3 of your classmates. Now you have to solve a murder mystery with a child's body, an adult's mind, and save a lonely, abused girl named Kaio who was the first victim. For 10 episodes, Erased is an absolute masterclass in tension. The direction is phenomenal, the emotional stakes are sky high, and the relationship between adult-minded Satoru and the tragic Kaio is heartbreaking in the best way. And then, the ending happens. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. The last 2 episodes are divisive. A lot of people found the killer reveal predictable and the resolution rushed. It's the anime equivalent of sprinting 95% of a marathon and then tripping right before the finish line. But here's the thing, the journey is so good that it still absolutely deserves a spot on this list. Those first 10 episodes are some of the best thriller anime you'll ever watch. Just maybe temper your expectations for the finale. And hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this list so far, do me a solid and drop a like and a comment letting me know which of these you've seen or which one you're gonna binge first. The algorithm loves that stuff and it helps me keep making videos like this. Appreciate you. Alright, let's keep going, because the top 5 is where things get really special. Landing at number 5 is Odd Taxi, a 2021 gem from OLM and PICS that took the anime world by storm with just 13 episodes. A cynical 41-year-old walrus drives a taxi in Tokyo. That's it. That's the show. Okay, that's not entirely it, but if I told you more, I'd ruin one of the best mystery anime of the last decade. Odd Taxi is a dialogue-heavy, character-driven noir where a depressed cab driver has seemingly mundane conversations with his passengers. A college kid chasing fame, broke comedians, a shady nurse, a Yakuza wannabe, and all of it somehow connects to the disappearance of a missing girl. Every line of dialogue matters. Every background detail is a clue. There is zero filler. It's the kind of show where you'll want to immediately rewatch it because you missed a dozen hints the first time. The characters are all animals, which sounds cutesy, but they're some of the most human and realistic characters you'll see in anime. And that choice? It's not just aesthetic. There's a reason for it that recontextualizes the entire series in the final episode. This is peak screenwriting. If you love movies like Pulp Fiction or shows that trust you to keep up, Odd Taxi is a must-watch. Breaking into the top 3 at number 3, we've got Parasyte, the Maxim from Madhouse. This 24-episode series from 2014 is a perfect blend of horror and philosophy. Alien parasites invade Earth. They burrow into human brains, take over the body, and eat other humans to survive. High schooler Shinichi gets attacked by one, but it fails to reach his brain and instead takes over his right hand. Now he's stuck with Migi, a hyper-intelligent, emotionless alien living in his arm, and together they have to fight other parasites while Shinichi slowly loses his humanity. This show is incredible. It's body horror, philosophical sci-fi, and a character study all in one. The action is visceral and creative. These parasites can morph their flesh into blades, whips, and horrifying shapes, and Madhouse animated it beautifully. But the real brilliance is the themes. The show asks, are humans really the good guys on this planet? We kill animals for food and sport, destroy ecosystems. Are the parasites really more monstrous than us? And Shinichi's transformation is haunting. He starts as a kind, empathetic kid, but trauma and his partial fusion with Migi turn him cold and detached. The show constantly asks, how much of the original Shinichi is left? The relationship between Shinichi and Migi is the heart of the show, a human and an alien learning from each other in the most unlikely partnership. A complete story, fantastic action, deep themes, this is a must-watch. Taking the number 2 spot is the first season of Psycho Pass from Production IG. This 22-episode cyberpunk masterpiece from 2012 is essential viewing for any sci-fi fan. It's the future. A supercomputer called the Sybil system can scan your brain and determine your criminal potential instantly. If your crime coefficient is too high, you get arrested. Or executed. Society is perfect. There's no crime, everyone's happy. Except, it's all a lie. Psycho Pass is cyberpunk at its absolute best. A dystopian thriller that's one part Minority Report, one part philosophical debate on free will. It follows rookie Inspector Akane Tsunemori as she enters a world where justice is decided by an algorithm, and she has to confront what happens when the system itself is flawed. The antagonist, Shogo Makishima, is legendary. He's not evil for the sake of it. He's a genius with a terrifying philosophy. He believes Sybil has turned humanity into passive livestock, and he's willing to burn society down to prove people should have the freedom to choose, even if they choose evil. The ideological battle between Akane and Makishima is some of the best character writing in anime. Every confrontation is as much a philosophical debate as it is a thriller. The world building is phenomenal. The aesthetic is sleek and oppressive. And Season 1 tells a complete story with one of the most satisfying conclusions in the genre. If you love smart sci-fi that makes you think, Psycho Pass is essential. And finally, claiming the number 1 spot on our list is Steins Gate from White Fox. This 24-episode masterpiece from 2011 is widely considered the greatest time travel story in anime history. A self-proclaimed mad scientist and his friends accidentally turn a microwave into a time machine that can send text messages to the past. That's the setup. What follows is the greatest time travel story ever told in anime. Maybe in any medium. Here's the thing about Steins Gate. The first half is deliberately slow. It's slice of life, it's goofy. The main character, Okabe, is a chunibyo weirdo who does a mad scientist laugh every 5 minutes. And some people drop it because of that. Do not make that mistake. Because around episode 12, this show transforms into a psychological horror thriller that will break you. Every single meaningless moment from the first half becomes critical. Every joke, every character interaction, every tiny detail. It all matters. The story explores the consequences of messing with time in the most brutal way possible. Okabe is forced to watch his friends suffer and die over and over across multiple timelines, and he's the only one who remembers. The weight of that knowledge destroys him. His character arc is one of the greatest in fiction. He goes from a delusional, goofy college kid to a traumatized, broken hero who has to make impossible choices to save the people he loves. The plot is flawless. Every twist is earned. Every emotional beat lands. The romance with Kurisu is beautiful. The ending is perfect. Steins Gate is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. It's the gold standard for short-form anime storytelling. If you only watch one anime from this list, make it this one. And there you have it. 10 anime you can finish in a single day. And every single one of them is a masterpiece. Whether you want psychological thrillers, time travel chaos, or just a talking walrus solving a mystery, there's something here for you. Now, if you loved this video, I've got another one you need to check out. 10 anime that deserve a sequel, but never got one. Because let's be honest, some of the best stories end way too soon, and we're going to talk about the ones that left us desperate for more. I'll leave that linked on screen right now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.